For some reason, the sun is shining a little bit brighter today. That's right, Bears fans. The Kevin Warren era has officially begun today. Today's Monday. Ted Phillips' last day as president of the Chicago Bears was on Friday, meaning that it's officially over. We made it. We did it. He's gone. The bad man is gone. Ted Phillips, no longer president. I never liked him. A lot of Bears fans don't like him. Why? Because not really any success has happened during his tenure. We had the Lovie Smith era, which was nice, but that was like 15 years ago was our last Super Bowl appearance. And since then, what have we done? The entire 2010s decade was basically a failure. Under his watch, him and George McCaskey are both to blame for why this era of the Bears has been just so garbage. But Ted Phillips took over in 1999. What exactly did he do during his tenure? He served from 1999 until 2023, had a record of 180 wins to 206 losses, 5 division titles, 6 total playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearance, which was a loss, and a 13-36 record against the rival Green Bay Packers. The rivalry basically died during his watch as team president. We did have 5 division titles over the span of these 24 years that he was in charge, but out of all of that, all these playoff appearances, which wasn't really that many, we only got 3 playoff wins, and our last one was in 2010. That was 13 years ago. It's been bad. It's been bad. Ted Phillips is probably going to be most remembered for the Soldier Field remodeling that he did back in 2002. That was basically his baby. That whole project was his planning, his execution. He negotiated that deal with the city of Chicago. That's a really bad thing to have a legacy for. See, this is old Soldier Field. This was our home from 1971 until 2001 when they closed it for 1 season for redevelopment purposes. It had a classic Romanesque design to it that made it one of the most unique game day experiences in the National Football League. It was also a very classical stadium. It had been around for almost 100 years by the time it was repurposed, meaning it was on the national list of historic landmarks. It was one of the most historic stadiums in the league and one of the most unique stadiums in the league, and it's not something that every team has. It's something that is very unique to the Bears, unique to Chicago. The Bears recognized this, and that what they tried to do was they tried to have it both ways. They basically tried to keep it a historic structure, but they also tried to modernize it at the same time. And this went very, very poorly. What they basically did was they took the shell, the outside of the stadium, they kept it and took out everything on the inside and basically put this big steel structure around it. And instead of looking like a modern design, it already looks dated. It looks like it's from the early 2000s. Instead of this timeless piece of architecture, they've turned into an amalgamation of steel and windows that just doesn't look all that pleasing to the eyes anymore. It also decreased seating capacity in the stadium by 5,000 seats. Why do you do that? You're in a big city like Chicago and you need more seats for this big market. We already have the smallest stadium in the league now. They wanted to have the classical design, but they also wanted to modernize it, and they ended up ruining both. And not only that, it got taken off the national list of historic landmarks anyway. So nice job, guys. Not only that, it was also extremely poorly financed. This structure here, taxpayers still owe over $600 million to pay for something that happened 20 years ago. It was refinanced twice, once in 2014 and once in 2019, but that part of the deal may have more to do with the city of Chicago and their incompetence more than it does with the Bears' incompetence, but it just goes to show how hot garbage this whole renovation was. It didn't increase game day experience at all. It made it more miserable. There's very poor design to the stadium. It's hard to get food. It's hard to get to the bathrooms. It's hard to get around. It's too cramped for a stadium that's supposed to be holding NFL fans. It was just very poorly done, and it's not something that you want to have your legacy be known as. But when Ted Phillips, when you ask him what he's most proud of as team president, he will point to this as what he wants his legacy to be. And that should be pretty emblematic of how poorly this franchise has been run for the last 20 years. It's also worth noting, Ted Phillips isn't a football guy. He's an accountant, and he was brought in to be the president of a National Football League organization. From an organizational standpoint, the Bears did very well under his run. In 1999, Chicago Bears were worth about $400 million. Now they're worth about $5.6 billion as a franchise, and that was all under his run. He did all right with advertisements, did all right with marketing. Basically, everything on the business side was okay. But you are the president of a football organization. You need to do both sides of the coin. That's why the new Bears president, Kevin Warren, is going to be a breath of fresh air. This guy came from a football background. He came with the Minnesota Vikings and the Big Ten in college. He's had more football experience than he has accounting experience, and that's something Ted Phillips cannot say. We're out here 24 years after Ted Phillips took over with very little to show for it. Like, what exactly did he accomplish in his time? The Bears are no closer to a Super Bowl. They're no closer to being competitive with the Packers. If you look at where we were in the late 90s and where we are right now, there's really not that much difference. I'm hoping that we won't return to this kind of Bears football and that this will start a new chapter in the history of the Chicago Bears under Kevin Warren as our new team president. That's all I really have to say, though. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm pretty excited that he's gone, and I think the team's going in the right direction. Something about this structure just really works for me. Kevin Warren is a football guy, and Ryan Poles seems to know what he's doing. I like what he's doing. So I'm pretty optimistic with the future of the Bears right now, but I definitely shouldn't be because this franchise has not really done anything for about 40 years now. But here's hoping for the best.